not favoring the student anymore.
Payment in our school is getting out of hand. To pay 6,300 for water access fee.
Considering the economic challenge now, we are unable to afford these school fees. We are also calling on the state government to help us with student loan.
I'm in 100 level and my portal fee is 7,300. The increment was not what we expected.
A memo cited by our correspondent showed that the school fees of River State indigents rose from between 38,200 naira and 64,600 naira to between 65,300 naira to 94,100 naira, while the fees for non-indigents rose from between 61,300 naira and 91,600 naira to 121,100 naira. Also, extra year students will now pay 87,800 naira instead of 58,300 naira. The Postgraduate Students Association, PGSA, of Ignatius Ajuru University of Education has set up a legacy automated library and procured sports equipment for all postgraduate students, staff, and the university community. President of the association, in a statement, said his love for all postgraduate students and desire for higher academic achievements led him to set up the well-equipped state-of-the-art library and a complete set of sports equipment for postgraduate students. While on his part, the Dean of Postgraduate School, Good Wilson, who represented the Vice Chancellor of Ignatius Ajuru University of Education, Oke Onuchukwu, expressed gratitude to the students for their achievements and contributions to the postgraduate school and encouraged them to do more for the university. While the statement said the dignitaries at the commissioning includes the Associate Dean of Postgraduate School, Chibuzo Nwobueze, Postgraduate Secretary, Mrs. Pepple, Professor Ozioma Ekpete, Professor Sixtus Anyanwu, the University Librarian Emmanuel Oku, Dean of Faculty of Humanities, Professor Kingdom Oji, the PGSA executives, other staff and students of the university. A parent is accusing the Principal of Community Secondary School, Ubarama, Ahoda West Local Government Area of Rivers State, of collecting money from prospective WAEC and NECO candidates. But this is despite a warning issued by the State Commissioner for Education, Professor Chinedu Mom, cautioning head teachers and principals of public schools against collecting money for the registrations of WAEC, NECO, and BESE exams. In an interview, the parents expressed concern that these illegal charges are mostly being collected in public schools in rural communities.
We heard the governor has ordered for free education in Rivers State. But these things are not getting done to some part of the communities that makes up Rivers State. Unlike Obarama community, I understand that the principal in that school is taking from the student 8,500 for picking up form, and is also asking the student to pay the sum of 24,000 for WAEC registration and NECO, whereby other communities in Rivers State, such as Port Harcourt mainly, those things are not obtainable.
Well, recall that earlier this month, State Commissioner for Education, Chinedu Mom, described such registration fees as illegal.
These examinations are being paid by Rivers State government free of charge for all our children enrolled in public schools in Rivers State. I'm re-emphasizing this because of the calls I receive from parents, some guidance that some principals have printed forms and says enrollment forms for NECO and WAEC and charging as much as 12, 15, 20,000 as the case may be. I've sent some persons who may form to be parents to register their students or their wards. Once you become a corporate, that is no abeg, the hammer of the law will hit on you. Please don't sabotage the efforts of the Rivers State government.
Away from that, the chairman of Emoha local government area of Rivers State, Chidi Lloyd, has refuted claims that the council charges 10,000 naira for local government identification letters. Dr. Lloyd, in an interview with correspondent Emeka Otuka, clarified that the application process for the council's identification letter is conducted online with a service charge of 2,600 naira.
And when I became chairman, something as sensitive as local government identification letter could be issued to anybody by the security men. And we came on board and we said, no, This is not acceptable. And of course, I had to bring my exposure to bear in governance. They think it should be business as usual. For the MOA local government identification letter, for you to obtain it, you need to go online. For you to access, you pay a paltry 2,600 naira only. And of course, you don't pay cash. It is issued to the person after online. We will now print it out and issue you physically.
Well, Dr. Lloyd urged applicants to report any individual demanding money for a local government identification letter.
I want to know whoever has paid, anybody who has collected cash from you posing as a council official. Don't tell me your name. Tell me the name of such corrupt official. Then you hear from me. From there, the police will be invited and the person will be summarily prosecuted. I can assure you that no matter how highly placed in the local government. However, if you are a computer illiterate, if you walk into a business cafe and they charge you more than we, the local government, charge, please don't blame the local government. So these are issues.
Well, as you may know, an applicant complained to Nigeria Info FM that officials of Emoha local government area are charging 10,000 naira for identification letters. Moving on, tenants in buildings marked for demolition following the construction of the Port Harcourt Ring Road have accused their landlords of not refunding their rents, which are yet to expire. It comes as landlords in the past few weeks have continued to remove their roofs, burglaries and rods used in the casting of their buildings. Well, some tenants spoke to our correspondent.
Most of us that are business people, we have not seen locations to take our goods to. This one we are staying is to see if we can gather more funds and get places.
I never move because my landlord never pay me. Secondly, I never see shop. The shop, even for street now, the thing there on the high side.
Why I never come up, my rent never expire, and I dey wait for landlord to refund the remaining money. Me, I dey for middle, so they no go just come straight now, start from here for the demolition. So they go either start from Rumosi Junction or Zoba Junction.
We just gave rest of mind because they never give us notice, say, we now come out, so say we won't start work, so period. We know that definitely we will live here.
Well, as you may know, the Port Harcourt Ring Road project will cut across 6 local government areas with 6 flyovers and 1 river crossing bridge. It is expected to be completed within 3 years. In other news, the Amadabo of Finima, Aseme, Alagbo, Dagogo, Lambert Brown has hailed Governor Siminalayi Fubara over the appointment of Jonathan Tobin as the Managing Director of the River State Microfinance Agency. The monarch, who is also the chief and head Boye Omuso Brown Major House of Finima, said the appointment of Mr. Tobin is a great choice given his experience in public sector financing and loans management. He said the people of Finima have confidence in the ability of Jonathan Tobin to discharge his responsibilities to the overall development of River State. He also said Governor Fubara has again demonstrated his love for competence, experience and managerial ability in his vision to take River State to greater heights. In another development, in anticipation of an upcoming visit by some APC members in Rivers State to the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike later this week, stakeholders from both factions within the party have expressed different views regarding the current leadership position within the state. It follows recent claims by a former Chief of Staff, Tony Okocha, that he is the leader of the party in the state. But some other members claim that former Minister of Transportation, Chibuike Amechi, remains the party leader in the state. Well, speaking on this, APC chieftain Omiete Eferebo, who says he is the River State APC chairman, tells correspondent Emeko Soibi Oruwari that the new leader of the party is the former governor of the state, Nyesom Wike, following his appointment by President Bola Tinubu.
Of the position is occupying at the national level as in Rivers APC. The person that gets information from the center that gives support. In politics, as we all know, when it comes to the issue of who is the leader, it depends on the position they are holding. It's just like our former leader, the former governor, Bulletin. He was the governor at that time and also minister. That makes him a leader. Who has taken that position is Chief Pastor Wiki. They were just given to him by the president.
But Chizi Enyi, an APC member loyal to the former Minister of Transportation, disagrees.
For the constitution of APC in in Nigeria, there are persons who qualify to be in certain leadership positions, particularly those who are qualified to be in the National Working Committee. And as a former governor, you are the leader by the privileged position that you are the former governor. But where there is a present governor of the state, then the governor of the state becomes the leader. But where there is no present governor, the former governor is the leader.
Mr. Enyi said the APC constitution confers leadership position to only elected members of the party and not appointees. Away from that, the Rivers State Police Command says it is determined to ensure a peaceful environment in the state. We're speaking at an event in Port Harcourt today. The Commissioner of Police, Nwunye Emeka, said the command will create a hostile environment for criminals in the state. He said the command is fully prepared to combat crime and criminal activities, especially these Ember months.
There is nothing like minister.
We are really battle ready to deal with criminals in these states who have not learned their lessons, that there's not going to be any breathing space for any criminal in River State. I maintain. If you are a criminal and you think this is a number month and it is a time to go on car snatching, on boats or whoever is all about, we are ready for you. Bumper to bumper, we will make River State relatively calm. The launch of River State Zero Crime Initiative is not just on words. We'll put it up with a match.
Still to come. Senate considers bills to ban CBN governor from politics. Stay tuned. Moving on, some Nigerians in the diaspora have raised concerns over an increased level of depression as they try to adapt to their host countries. They told our correspondents that they face challenges of acceptance, identity crisis, and other issues which affect their mental health and productivity. Well, some of them say they have become suicidal due to loneliness and lack of connection with home.
I recently moved to the UK like a year ago without a family, no husband, no family whatsoever. It was just like a few more months before winter. There's something winter does to people. If you are depressed, it makes you more depressive. And if you aren't depressed, you plummet into depression. There's this sense of I'm all alone. It sort of just deals with your productivity. For me, it led to suicidal thoughts. I wasn't myself.
For me, I would not expressly call it depression, but rather culture shock I felt when I moved. I missed my friends back in Nigeria. At a point, I even felt like I made a mistake. I don't know if it was the food.
I think the most challenging part, if you don't have someone where you are that you can relate with easily, someone that has to guide you on things that you need to do or things you need to know.
Well, they also spoke on various actions they are taking to help themselves.
I told my school counselor about it and I was put into therapy. I believe you could take up some type of exercise. If you're a gym freak, you could start small, or you could just go on runs. I used to go running every morning, kept my mind active. For me, I started doing volunteer work. If you don't have a job, I would really consider you getting a job. You could go out, to these events, African events, whatever, like any event at all. It helps you meet people. I really turned up the button on my spiritual life. I prayed a lot.
I even engaged in church activities. I'm a music person, so I volunteered to play for an organization. I engaged in social activities, kept in touch with family and friends back home through, regular phone calls, video chat.
A safety expert, Uwagie Kenneth, has urged government regulatory agencies, including the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Regulatory Agency, NMDPRA, to ensure it does not approve the siting of gas stations close to residential areas and schools. Mr. Kenneth, who is also an HSE management professional, gave this advice while speaking on the increased rates of gas stations being constructed close to residential areas in Port Harcourt metropolis.
Setting up a liquefied petroleum gas station around residential areas, schools, is actually prohibited. That is why the DPR will have to give a permit before they allow you set up a gas station. Because of the system we find ourselves, the DPR doing inspection in most cases do not really inspect. Without a site visit, they just look at your forms and give you a permit from.
Well, Mr. Kenneth also mentioned activities to be avoided around gas stations.
The major risks associated with this operation is fire and explosion. Exposure or a trigger for many of these facilities can result in fire and explosion. Now, for fire to occur, there are three major elements, which is heat, fuel, and oxygen. Now, the reason why there are no fire yet in those gas stations is because of the presence of fuel, the presence of oxygen, and the absence of heat. Now, the facilities around can actually introduce heat to this facility.
In business, the federal government will on Friday stop the salaries of civil servants whose records could not be verified on the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System, IPPIS. But this was made known in a statement by the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemieso, today. In entertainment, Chef Dami has been sued by her pastor, Prophet Adegoke Jeremiah, days after she called for him to be held responsible if anything happens to her. Well, Pastor Jeremiah is demanding a retraction of the statement and 20 million naira settlement. In sports, Super Eagles will host the Crocodiles of Lesotho for their first game of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, Akwa Ibom State, on 17th of November.
And now, we bring you news from around the world.
Israel has reacted angrily to comments made by the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres about the Gaza war at the Security Council. Mr. Guterres had condemned the deadly attacks by Hamas gunmen in Israel 2 weeks ago, but added that it was important to recognize that something led to the attacks. Israeli Ambassador Gilad Erdan accused Mr. Guterres of justifying terrorism and has demanded his immediate resignation. He later said Israel will withhold visas from UN officials. Well, that's the news, but before we go, a look at the highlights. On the news this evening, you heard that students of Ignatius Ajuru University are demanding for loans and bursaries following a hike in school fees. A public school principal has been accused of collecting WAEC registration fees in Aoda West local government area. Rivers State APC members have clashed over leadership ahead of a planned visit to the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike. The Senate today considered 2 bills banning CBN governors and their deputies from politics. A safety expert has warned against siting gas stations close to residential areas and schools. On the foreign scene, Israel has asked the UN chief, Antonio Guterres, to resign following his comments on Hamas attack. The news was edited by Martha Okerenkem. You can see pictures and watch videos of news stories when you like us on Facebook and follow us on X at NigeriaInfoPH. On Instagram, it's at NigeriaInfoFM_PH. Now, for any eyewitness report and breaking news, text and send your WhatsApp pictures and videos to our news desk line on 0808-721-7215. Remember, peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. I'm Constance Mega. Thank you so much for listening. Good evening.